Welcome back to the Survival Trapper's Bible, and today I want to show you a great variation on the T-bar snare. Very similar setup, except it's for a den hole. And one of the reasons that this trap set is so important is because one of the major shelter areas for a lot of small game in North America is dens. They like to dig holes in the ground, or they take over dens of animals that have dug before them. So today we're going to show you how to set up a trap trigger system that can snare animals going in and out of a den based on a trigger instead of a peg-based snare. First thing that we need to do is drive 2 stakes into the ground, approximately 30-inch stakes, make sure that they're secure, and then tie them at the top. You don't have to tie them at the top, but it makes it much more secure. Then I've got to add a single peg stake right here. And the same way that we set up the other T-bar snare is exactly how we're going to do this. You're also going to need a long toggle stick, and this is to jam up underneath your crossbars. And then we've tied 2 overhand knots up here and just attached 2 wire snares to them. And that's the double portion of the snare. That way we get them on the entrance or the exit, or maybe even a double snare. All you need for this type of trap setup is a open den like this, and this is nothing more than an animal den dug up underneath a tree. And it doesn't matter whether the hole is active or inactive, whether there's an animal living in it or not. You can bait these dens just as easily as you can set them up on holes that you know are active, and it works just as effectively for both. So when setting this trap up, it's the same as before. Make sure that your toggle goes up underneath, and the rope is going to be facing towards the inside of the den hole. If you put the rope to the outside, it will draw the animal up over here, and the trap won't be effective. It won't do what you want. So, got our trigger stick here, our toggle. We're just going to use this as a runner stick all the way across. Very, very sensitive. Alright, so now that we've got the trap trigger set, you want to be mindful to stay out of the way of the toggle in case it accidentally goes off. And we have 2 snares on here for one reason, and that's basically to make sure that we get the animal whether he's coming in the hole or out of the hole. So we're going to place our first snare down here at the bottom, and we can afford to leave that quite wide. Since we have snare wire instead of rope, we don't have to worry about chew out quite as much. And the snare on the bottom side is to make sure that you catch them when they're coming out of the hole. And the snare on the top side is for animals going in the hole. So when setting your double snare, all I need is a split stick above. Like I mentioned, you can afford to keep the loop wide. We're not worried about chew outs with the wire. You want to make sure that the snare is wide enough to cover the entire hole. Now, the reason that we have a double snare is because if the animal comes in from this side and trips the trigger, there's a good chance that this back snare might not catch him and it'll just jerk over his head. So we want to make sure that his body is in the snare before the trap trigger goes off. You also want to gauge the height of your trigger bar based on the size of animal that you're going after. So if it's a short animal, then you want to put it lower to the hole. If it's a taller animal, make it a little higher. A lot of guys ask me, hey Rob, why don't you show us any animals in these primitive trap triggers? And there's a lot of reasons for that. I would love to go out and run a trap line and show this to you on video, but unfortunately all primitive trap triggers are illegal, guys, in all 50 states. So all of these trap triggers that I'm showing you, if you go out and use them and get caught by a game warden or something along those lines, you can get some pretty substantial and heavy fines. You might get your stuff confiscated. So keep in mind that these techniques and tactics are for survival scenarios only.